Hiya loves, welcome back to my channel! So today we're going to get in full drag again, which is all fabulous, and I've got this gorgeous kind of short hair that I want to wear. So I'm thinking something quite simplistic, very femme fatale, very stone cold hard bitch, you know what I'm saying. But with a bit of sparkle and glam because that's very me. So yeah, if you want to stick around and see how I transform myself from this to this, then you gotta keep on watching. As always, before we begin, I'm gonna go and cover my brows. Be right back. And here we have my brows, sideburns, and my little widow's peak have been glued down. Instead of using the clown white, which I usually go for, I'm gonna try another TV paint stick, adding to my usual 3, which I do my base. And it's in the shade 070, and this shade is like a stark white. So hopefully the thickness of that might be able to cover any last bits of texture that are in these brows, a little bit more so than the Super Colour Clown White will. I'm going to go with a mixture of 2 different primers, the Beam Dream Glow from Revolution, which is like the pinky shift, and I'm also going to try out a new little tester. It's called the Watermelon Burst Hydrating Primer from Ciate London. Forgive me if I'm not saying that correctly. I'm going to put the Beam Dream Primer on the points of my face where I want highlights, and then the Watermelon Burst on areas I'm more likely to get a little bit drier. And now to carry on. Now that I've got my creams on, it's time to powder. I'm going to use a mixture of 2 different powders today. I'm going to use the Airspun in Translucent, but it's got a little bit of a kind of peachy undertone to it. And then I'm going to use the Stark White Dermacolor Fixing Powder in P1, and I'm going to use that to kind of put on the more highlighty places on my face, if that makes sense. But yeah, you'll see. I'm going to start by doing the highlight sections first. Whilst all this powder is still baking on my face, I'm going to go in with my NYX Pro Contour palette, and I'm going to use the deeper shades to kind of build up the outsides. But as this is a femme fatale, I want everything to be quite pulled back and sharp. I'm actually using a little note that What a Drag put in on my first purchase, and it even says on it, recycle me, use me to contour. So I shall. I'm going to take a nice dense contour brush, go into this kind of like cool shade here, and let's go. And by leaving some of the setting powder on my face whilst I'm going in with the contour, yes, I've got this harsher line, but it's actually going to appear a little softer as well, which It's going to be quite nice, especially if I'm going to put some bronzer on later as well. For bronzer, back in with the old classic, the Kiko Summer Collection, which smells like chocolate. It's delicious. In the shade Perfect Tan. Blush, another old classic, the Revolution Pro Peach Palette. And I'm going to go in starting with this kind of orangey tone at first and maybe bringing in some of this coral. I'm going to avoid this today as I want it to be a little bit softer, the look, so yeah, just those. Now for nose contour, it's the flat brush. I'm going to go back in with that bronzer and I'm just going to sculpt from where I want my brow to start all the way down. And now to dust off all of the excess powder. I think I might have to zoom you in a little bit because next step is the brows. As with the brows, you kind of know the routine of the dots and how to sketch it, but with this kind of more Femme Fatale look, I want it to be really angular at the front and then kind of go almost straight across, just to kind of give a bit more highbrow sass. So I'm just going to go in with a really small angled eyebrow brush here, which is from Morphe, and I'm going to go in with the same shade that I used for my contour in 9W to paint out these brows. Yeah, those are great. I'm gonna actually set those with some of the contour powders rather than eyeshadows, so yeah, I'll be right back. Yeah. So the brows are done, they're filled in with some bronzer. I'm now gonna go in with a small synthetic brush. Primarily this kind of brush should be used for lips, but I'm gonna use it to carve out under the brow using the same 070 paint stick as I did earlier. I'm now going to set this with a white eyeshadow from Krylon, do the same on the other eye, and then let's get into some colour. Right, so I'm going to go with two different palettes. The one I'm going to go in with the gigantic, is it fully in? Yeah. The gigantic Be Perfect Stacey Marie XL Carnival palette. Ooh. And then in comparison, little elf one. So how this is going to work is I'm going to get the card and I'm going to put it against my eye, from the corner of my eye going up to the tip of the brow where it finishes, as that's where I kind of want the eye makeup to travel. And I'm going to start with the lighter shades and slowly bring in some of the darker. Basically that's it. Yeah. So I'm going to take a lovely fluffy brush like this, and I'm going to start by going in with the palest shade from the Mini e.l.f. Berry Bad palette. Can you see? Straight. I'm not going to worry about priming my lids because I'm primarily going to cover that with winged liner anyway. So I'm also going to start to bring it in as if I'm creating a new lid here, a new crease, sorry. Ugh. Now with a slightly smaller, fluffier brush, I'm going to go in with the shade Basic from the Be Perfect palette. I'm going to go back into the Be Perfect palette now and dip into the shade Hall, as well as the dark berry shade in the e.l.f. palette. And now repeat on the other eye. So what I've done is use the shade Inspire from the Be Perfect palette to pop on the lids to add a bit of shimmer. I've also mirrored everything I did on top, just underneath the lash line. I'm now going to go in with a small little mini fluffy brush, and I'm going to use the darkest shade, the black shade in the Be Perfect palette, to deepen out the outer corner. I don't want too much black because I want this to be quite a bronzy brown neutral eye. Now this might look like a lot of black, but I promise I have used at least half of the amount of black I usually use though. It's fine. Now for the liner. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Jet Black Liquid Liner and just go for it. Paint over that lid. For highlight today, I'm going to use the highlighting palette from Barry M in Cosmic Light. I'm going to go in with this little pinky shade here. Ooh. For lip liner today, I'm going to be using the Give Face Cosmetics lip liners, and they've got two different shades. I'm going to do a little mixture. This one's a bit more plummy and this one's more of an orangey red, so oh yes. Once that's on, I'll get a little red lip stain on, and then I'll be right back with the final touches. Yes. And here we are, guys. Here is the final look. Yes. So she's very stern, she's sultry, she's sexy. She's got this gorgeous kind of like red sequin, bejeweled, bedazzled fabulousness. The red lips, they're just a staple, you know? If you're ever going to do something bold like a red lip, go for a neutral smoky eye. It's stunning. And what are we feeling about this slicked back hair as well? It's something new. I quite like it. I quite like it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel where I will be showing more and more makeup as the days continue. Let me know in the comments if you have a specific look or colour or theme that you'd like me to do next. Until next time, guys. See you later. Ta-ra, love.